From the Fantasy Armchair, it is the Fantasy TyRant.
Hey there, fellow fantasy football freaks. Welcome back to the Fantasy Armchair. You like the new intro voice, huh? A little honey to go with the vinegar? Thought you might like it. Alright, not a lot of bullshit this time. I know you came here to continue watching my top 200 overall. And in this episode, you get number 21 through 50. If you didn't see 1 through 20 already, click this little link above my head, and if that's not there, there's one down there in the description. And if that's not there, it's because it hasn't come out yet. So just wait a little bit. It's coming soon. Anyway, here we go with my 21 through 50 of my top 200 overall. Real quick though, please like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss an episode. And here we go. Michael Pittman is a guy that we've been getting excited about, but there have been some issues with his QB on the Colts. First, he had a revolving door combo of Phil Rivers, Jacoby Brissett, Jacob Eason, and Sam Ehlinger, as well as Carson Wentz's cavalcade of crap. And then, an aging, near-retirement, senior spring Matt Ryan. But even with all that, he still managed top 20 wide receiver numbers in both 2021 and 2022. Then, last season, Anthony Richards joined the fray, and things started off well, looking like a hell of a duo. Then the injury bug bit AR, and now we've had to wait a whole year for that connection to begin its boom. Richardson is definitely the best QB Pittman has had yet, and last season, he still managed wide receiver 13 without him. I think he continues to be a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 this season. I've got him ranked as the wide receiver 14 at 23rd overall, and I think that might even be too low on him, but not as low as fantasy drafters are this season, who are taking him at the 35 overall, 18th wide receiver off the board. This is why you watch my show instead of fucking around like your dipshit league mates do. You can get Pittman in round 4, but I'd take him mid-round 3 and still consider him a steal. If he's your wide receiver 2, you're sitting pretty. I have him as my wide receiver 4 in a few leagues, and I'm shitting my drawers in anticipation for killing it in those leagues. Not really, because I'm a grown-ass man, but you get the point. Don't sleep on the Colts offense this season. I expect big things all around, and that includes Michael Pittman. Get him everywhere you can. Another guy I've liked for a long time and is ready for a monster season is DK Metcalf. I've been pounding the drum for this guy since he's been in the league, but he's been held back by shitty QB play, including a far past his prime Russell Wilson, and this stupid-ass Geno Smith experiment the Seahawks won't give up on. Hopefully Sam Howell takes over before the season's done. Anyway, despite all of this, he's averaged out as a top 15 wide receiver over the past 4 years. And while he's been on a downward trend, I think this is the season he trends back up. So with nothing really changing in the roster, why do I think it'll be such a big year for DK? A brand new pass-heavy offense under new offensive coordinator Ryan Grubbs. The former Washington Huskies coach is looking to instill his high-flying offense in Seattle. The same offense that made Michael Penix, Rome Odunze, Jalen Polk, and Jalen McMillan into offensive superstars in college football. This is quite the departure from Seahawks offenses as of late, and the buzz around training camp is that the players are flourishing and excited to score big points in Grubb's new offense. This is just what DK needs to take the next step, and he could be flirting with wide receiver 1 numbers this year. Tyler Lockett's getting older, and sure, Jackson Smith-Njigba's on his way up, but this season is DK's season to shine. He's currently going outside the top 40 in drafts, and I think he'll perform way above his ADP. You can get him late in the 3rd, early in the 4th in PPR drafts. I'd take him in round 3, and if he's your 2nd or 3rd wide receiver, I'm stoked. Amari Cooper is someone who's always made his way under the radar, but competes every season as a viable starting wide receiver in fantasy. In the last 2 seasons, he was the wide receiver 10 and 20 respectively. The Deshaun Watson project hasn't panned out so far, but with a full training camp and season removed from his off-field issues, this could be Watson's best season since going to the Browns, and surely Amari Cooper will be the main benefactor. He has very little competition on the team, with new arrival Jerry Jeudy and unpredictable tight end David Njoku as his only real competition for targets. He's going to be a wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside, but he's being drafted as a wide receiver 3, 25th wide receiver off the board, and 54th overall. Don't let him pass you by this season. You could get him as a sneaky great wide receiver 3 in round 5. CJ Stroud gets a bad rap for not being a, quote, mobile quarterback. But even without posting big rushing numbers, he still cracked the top 10 as a QB in his rookie season. He connected with Nico Collins and Tank Dell, as well as Dalton Schultz. He took the lowly Texans to their first playoff win since 2019, and it appears he's well on his way to superstardom. And this season, he gets another major weapon in four-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stephon Diggs. I see big things for this offense, and CJ Stroud will be a top 5 QB in fantasy before it's all said and done. I don't think that's far-fetched by any stretch of the imagination. He's currently ranked QB 6 and 55th overall by the pros and fantasy pros, but I've got him as their overall 41 and my QB 4, and a spot higher than Pat Mahomes, who was actually the QB 8 last season. People are taking Mahomes as their top-tier QB in a lot of drafts, or number 2 behind Josh Allen. I don't think a beat-up, oft-injured, overrated wide receiver in Hollywood Brown or a rookie speedster in Xavier Worthy, like we didn't already hear this with Kadarius Toney or Sky Moore, are going to pump my nads about Mahomes breaking back into the top 3 or 4 spot at QB. I think QB 5 is plenty generous enough, and I definitely take Stroud ahead of him. Kenneth Walker is the running back you all forget about. You all slept on him after his rookie season, where he was the RB18. Then he was the RB19 last season, but everyone was down on him because of Zach Charbonnet coming in. Okay, fine, but Charbonnet took very little away from Walker as he continued to light things up in this offense with a faster pace of play, despite a lot more passing plays in Ryan Grubb's offense. I only see Walker improving from a low-end RB2 to a high-end RB2 just because of the high-scoring, fast-paced nature of the new offense and also the improvements made to the offensive line. A stout and efficient run game is the key to unlocking Grubb's offense, and Walker is the key master. No, not that one. The new look Seattle offense will bump everyone up in fantasy, Kenneth Walker included. Being taken over Walker in drafts is Josh Jacobs. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that here, as you can hear me tell you all about why I'm just a little down on this guy on his new team in my running back bust video. I'll put a link in the description, but the TLDR version is basically that he's gone from being a focal point in the offense in Vegas to being an afterthought in the pass-happy attack of the Packers. Now that might be a bit dramatic, but you get the point. But let's end this on a positive note with Christian Kirk. Yeah, I expect big things from QB Trevor Lawrence's new toy, rookie wide receiver Brian Thomas. But remember, last season, when everyone was ready to move on from Christian Kirk to Calvin Ridley, who was the only one pumping the brakes on that, saying Christian Kirk's still going to be a factor? This guy right here. I was the only analyst still ranking Kirk close to Ridley, and the numbers were very similar last season. This season, Kirk's the number 1 guy, and his strong rapport and connection with T-Law will only improve. He was the wide receiver 33 in fantasy points last season, playing behind Ridley. This year, he's being ranked about the same, despite becoming the wide receiver 1 in that offense, which boasts the 5th most vacated targets. It just makes no sense. Brian Thomas isn't taking all those targets, so it's a no-brainer that Kirk improves this year. I have him breaking into the top 30 at wide receiver 26, and with the Jags offense on the rise and Kirk leading the wide receiver core, I see his numbers only going up this season. Not sure why I'm the only one, but now you know too. He's a steal in the 6th round, where he's been being drafted a lot. So that's it. On to the next set. Probably floating above my head, but if not, just wait a little bit. It's coming soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and share this with everyone you know. Even your kid's new school bus driver. Who knows? They might be into fantasy football. Anyway, check out the next one. Got 4 more to go. See you then. I'm out. Peace.